What's good, beautiful people? You just transported yourself into the clay space. The clay space is a safe space, not just for me, but for us. This is a safe space for the community that we are building here. We are building here. Y'all gotta excuse my language, man. It's been a long day. I had a long day at work, y'all. But I'm happy to be here with y'all. For those who are new to the channel, like, subscribe. I definitely encourage you guys to comment because we get into these comments. We have a community here, man, and we here to help each other out. We here to protect each other, and we here to help each other grow. Because at the end of the day, y'all, we all we got. Also, I gotta let you guys know, for those who are new as well, I curse. And sometimes I curse a lot. And if you are offended by language, this might not be the podcast for you. But if you could look past it, I think you appreciate some of the things I have to say. And without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. We pop off every episode with something from the forum. The forum is our community space where we talk to each other, we help each other out, and we be there for each other because at the end of the day, we all we got, man. We all we got, y'all. And so last time on the forum, we talked about judgment. And I was talking about how I don't really judge people like that, and how I made this post about it, and someone commented and they asked a question about if I had a friend who slept with a married person, would I judge them, and how do I seen that? And I broke it down as no, you got to hold your friend accountable. Well, I followed up with this guy, and he let me know that he did indeed hold his friend accountable, because I asked you guys last time, do you hold your friends accountable? And if you did, how'd it go? So, looking into the forum, he responded and he said when he held his friend accountable, he did it anyway. And he didn't listen to him. And that's okay. You did your part, bro. You did your part. And that's all you can is do your part. And let me ask you this. We talked about you holding your friends accountable. Have you ever been in a situation, in a space where your friends had hold you accountable? That's a good question right there. And how did you react when the shoe was on the other foot? I'll tell you something. I recently was in a space where I had to get held accountable twice in the past couple days. Um, just real quickly, working this new job, getting into the swing of things, and I was working with someone who's been there before me. You know, they've been on this job a couple of years, so they know the ropes. And I'm in charge of the schedule, and I did the schedule kind of funny. I knew I was doing it kind of funny, but I shot my shot anyway, hope for the best. And they pulled me to the side and they let me know, hey man, that bullshit ain't about to slide, man. Like, we really gotta be tight with this. You really gotta give me time to be able to do this and do that. And how did I take that? I took it like a champ. I gave her a hug. I looked in the eye and I said, I appreciate you for the feedback, because I need that. I'm not perfect. I don't proclaim to be. I strive to be the best version of myself. And when people have feedback for me, when people hold me accountable, most of the time, most of the time, I'm receptive to it. Not all the time, because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You know, sometimes you could just come at people wrong and the message completely just go right over their head because the delivery was off. Another time, I'm working with a group of people, and I'm not gonna give all the details, and I'm sparing it because, like, I want to have some kind of protection for the people that I work with and I'm dealing with and talking about, because yeah, I'm being open and honest with my podcast, but at the same time, it be real people involved in these things, and I just want to protect them and show the utmost respect in a way. But I want to share this story and I want to tell this truth. So, I have a project with a group of friends, and it's been a really interesting segment of my life. I said that way. Um, because I'm used to just being myself. I'm used to doing things my way. I'm used to being in charge of a lot of things that I do, or at least in a leadership role of it. And I'm not a dictator with nothing I do. You know, the best idea wins. Everyone I work with know that, and they know that they can come to me and we bounce off each other. But in this particular situation, I almost feel like I can't be myself. It almost feels like when I am myself, I do something wrong, or there's some kind of confliction with other members of this project. And there was a situation recently where I did something that in my mind wasn't a big deal. In my mind, I felt like I was doing something to help a friend out. But because I didn't share it with the group, and because of how I went about it, it was perceived in a very negative way. And my intention was not that, but that's how it was perceived. And we talked about it, and I understand where they're coming from. We conducting ourselves in a professional manner, and we have to move that way across the board. I was held accountable in that moment, and I understood that. And I took that piece of information and I went with it because I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? There's certain times and spaces in which I'm not perfect, man. I do a lot of great work. I do a lot of great work in what I do, but there's always room for growing. There's always room for elevation. And especially when it comes to working with different people who have a different workflow than you, it's a real big learning process for me. You know what I'm saying? Being in a space where everyone's opinion matters, everyone's input matters just as much as yours, in a space where you have to have supreme level of communication, it's a challenge for me, y'all. And I fall short sometimes. And I had, like I told y'all, I was held accountable in that moment, and I had to own it because at the end of the day, I get where they coming from. They right. I should have did it a little differently, but at the time, I wasn't thinking about it that way. I was just trying to help out a friend, man. But yeah, man, how do you take accountability? How do you take accountability? Some people don't take it very well. But for those of us out here who actually want to be the best versions of ourselves, we take it in stride most of the times. Because again, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes, y'all. In this episode, I want to talk about God. I want to talk about God, y'all. I want to talk about my relationship with God. And I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know what you guys may or may not get from it. But I just want to share my testimony, y'all. I just want to share my story. So, and I'm going to start from the beginning. And I don't mean to mystify myself or nothing like that. This is just what I've been told from my mother. My mother and my father have been wanting to have a child together. My mom was in a marriage before my dad, and that's how I have my sister. A lot of people don't know I have a sister. Yes, I have a sister. Shout out to you, Brandy. I love you, big sis. I got a sister. Yes, I do. But my dad, he wanted to have his first child. My mom wanted to give him that. So they tried, and there was no luck. Went to the doctor. This is going on. That is going on. I don't know. It got to the point where they kind of just gave up on the whole idea of having children. And my mama, she told me that she did the prayer of Hannah. And for those who don't know, essentially in the Bible, if you guys look it up, Hannah wanted to have a son. She prayed to God and said, God, if you give me a son, I give him to you. So my mama did the prayer of Hannah. She prayed to God, God, you give me a son, I give him to you. So she said the prayer. She going about her life. This is crazy how manifestation works. She went on about her life, and they just did not think about it anymore. They just got to the point where they were content with just being together and loving each other and enjoying their marriage. And then she told me one night they came home from a party and it was a home. And a little bit after that, she was sick. And she didn't think nothing of it. She's like, oh, I'm sick, whatever, whatever. Because they've been going so long at this point. Because my parents have been married longer than I've been alive. So they've been going like strong for a long time with no babies, no slip up. So at this point, they're not thinking about nothing. But my mom gets sick. She go to the doctor and they like, ma'am, you're pregnant. And she like, You fucking with me. There's no way. There's no fucking way I'm pregnant. Like y'all done said that this shit couldn't happen. I done gave up the idea of it. There's no way that I can be pregnant. And they're like, no, ma'am, I'm telling you, you are pregnant. And it hit her. It really sunk in. What? Okay, cool. I'm pregnant. Let me tell. She told my dad. Of course, he didn't believe it. He didn't believe it. He was like, "There's no way that you pregnant. There is no. Why is you playing with me? Get off my phone with this woman. Why is you playing with me?" But no, she was in fact pregnant, and my granddad was on his deathbed. Last episode, I talked about my grandma Vivian. She married my biological granddad, and my mom was in the hospital with her and him, and this was his deathbed. Now, my mama was, I don't know. She said she might have been a couple weeks or maybe even a month. However long she was pregnant, it was too early to know the gender. My granddad in his deathbed said to both of them, I saw my grandson and he gonna be all right. Mind you, my mama ain't tell nobody she was pregnant. But he saw that. And he saw me. So when it comes to the point I'm growing in her belly to do the ultrasound, and I'm closing my legs so they can't really tell what my gender is. So they just, oh, this is probably going to be a girl. My mom like, nah, that's a boy. That's a boy. I know that's a boy. My daddy told me. Well, okay, ma'am, whatever, whatever. When I was born, my mama said, hand me my son. And the doctor looked at shocked because my mama knew what it was because my granddaddy told her, I saw my grandson and he gonna be all right. So now, God gave my mama the son that she prayed for. So what did she do? She gave me to God. She got me Christian. She raised me in the church. She taught me about God. She encouraged me to have a relationship with God. She did everything that she was supposed to do. And it paid off. As a child, I was different. I was very bright. I was very wise, well beyond my years. And I feel like that came from the blessing. I was blessed with wisdom. I was blessed with the ability to work with people, to feel people, to have empathy with people, to like I'm blessed with a lot of different gifts. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not gonna go down the list of them. I'll do it on another episode. I don't care if y'all think I'm like, I see when Kevin Gates talk about how he started a battery with his hand. I know that shit is true. I've first of all, I've seen somebody do it. Second of all, I know what I'm capable of. I'm not gonna dive into it, but God bless me and I'm blessed. And I have gifts that are beyond the physical realm. I put it that way. And I've always been that way and I never knew how to, I guess, utilize it because I didn't know what it was. Or I have an understanding of God because of what my mom told me, because of what they taught me in church. And I have a relationship with God. I had a relationship with God at that time because I prayed a lot. I used to pray for things I want. I remember praying and feeling this feeling of like greatness. I think that was the first time that God actually spoke to me. The first time God spoke to me, I was laying in the bed. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was a young boy. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember that night. I just had this overwhelming feeling like I was supposed to do something great. Like I was supposed to do something big. I didn't know what it was, how I was going to do it, but I remember that feeling being placed on me so strongly. I felt it in my heart. And I was like, man, I'm supposed to do something big. And it always stuck with me and it always kept me. That was the first time God ever spoke to me. And God will speak to me throughout my different life, and I throughout my life, and I hear God. And God has blessed me. There's a lot of situations I could have been in that I'm not in because I was obedient. I could have been locked up or dead, y'all. Where I grew up, what I was around when I grew up, I could have been locked up or dead, y'all. But I did my best to follow the steps that God laid before me, and I'm here now. So God spoke to me, but I didn't meet God yet. And when I met God, it was a very, very, very special moment for me because I was going through my first spiritual awakening. You know, I was in a space where I was starting to see the world differently. I was, my third eye open, put it that way, for those who are familiar with the third eye, the pineal gland. It's the ability to see things that's beyond the physical, you know? And it's not just even physically just seeing, it's like a feeling of seeing, a feeling of knowing. It's intuition as well, you know? All of that was getting unlocked in this space and time. And I was transforming as a human being. It was around the same time when I first lost all that weight. It's because I started changing the way I was eating. And I remember I was reading about light workers and what a light worker was just resonated with me so deeply because I felt like that's why I was placed on this earth. When my mama did the prayer of Hannah, I feel like God sent me here to help contribute to the betterment of humanity. And I'm not saying that in a way like I'm special and I'm a safe. We're all special. We're all here for a purpose. We're all here to help the betterment of humanity. But my purpose within that grand scheme of that mission was unlocked when I read about light workers. I'm a non-life path and everything, y'all. Non-life path and everything. But when I was reading about it and I resonated so deeply, tears started to flow out my eyes. And my heart felt warm. And there was like a feeling. The only way I can describe this pure love. It was just pure love started radiating out of my heart. It started in my heart and it started radiating and it expanded. And it was like it expanded so big that it gave me a hug. And tears just flowed down my eyes because I knew that that was God. I knew that that was God. That was the first time I actually met God. I've had a relationship with God. God has spoken to me. I speak to God, but that was the first time of my life I actually met God. And that moment changed my life. I always pledged to give my life to God. See, my mama gave me to God, but I had to make that decision on my own. When God showed me that I'm supposed to do something great when I was that little boy in Elm Circle. That's the street I used to stay on. I was that little boy on Elm Circle, sleeping on the couch. When God showed me that I was supposed to do something great, I made a pledge to God that what I will be blessed with, I use it for good. Everything that I've been given, I use it for good. I made that pledge. And my life is like that. Like for real, for real. I'm not a perfect person. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I have a dark side that's just as big as my light side. And I say all that to say because when I express this part of me, people like to put me in a box as if this is only what I am. I am a hot mess just like everyone else. I'm trying to figure it out just like everyone else. But there is an aspect of me that is great, that is of God. And I do my best to represent and to be that part of myself as consistently as possible. Because that side of me is the truest to my heart. When I do other shit, I feel bad about it. You know what I'm saying? When I do wrong, I feel bad about it. I have a conscience. So I try to, my best, do everything that's aligning with the person that God wants me to be. And I have to do that in order to accomplish my mission or to even to achieve the greatness that God gave me the vision of. Like trust me, I tried to just to do what everybody else do. And I can only get away with so much till God just be like, nah, fuck that. We going this way. And I have no choice but to be obedient. But y'all, that was my story, man. That was my story of how I met God. You know, I end every single episode with a reading from the scripture of clay. For those who don't know, I'm a music artist. And I'm the type of artist that express what I feel, how I feel. Things I've actually been through. I have a large catalog of music that covers a large range of emotions. So the song right now, the lyric that supports this conversation that I just had with y'all is from a song that I wrote called Note to Higher Self. I wrote this because this was the time I was in my spiritual awakening and I met God. And I realized that God, when they say God, we were made in the image of God. I believe that our spirit is the image of God. The spirit that is within this flesh is of the spirit of God. That's what I believe. I believe that God took a piece of itself and was like, here's a person, here's a bird, here's a tree, here's a freaking, you know, I feel like that's how it is. Call me crazy, but that's what I believe. That's why I believe we all are one in spirit, you know? And when it comes to your higher self, that is the version of you that is the highest you, meaning that is the version of you that is God, you know? Or at least the most like God. And I wrote a song to that version and that part of myself. And in it, the line that I said, in which I'm talking about when I met God, I said, Lord, I'm yearning Mecca like Muhammad now. I never thought a piece of Mecca could come from within until I met you for the first time. It was better than my first time. It was better than the time I wrote my first rhyme. I want to feel like this forever. Oh man, I love that line. I'm gonna say it again, y'all. I said, Lord, I'm yearning Mecca like Muhammad now. I never thought a piece of Mecca could come from within until I met you for the first time. It was better than my first rhyme. Excuse me, I said it was better than my first time. It was better than the time I wrote my first rhyme. Like, that is. It was like, when I tell y'all, it was better than my first time having sex. It was better than the time I wrote my first rhyme, the time when I wrote my first rap line, the feeling I felt when I did that, the feeling I felt when I first heard my voice come through a recording. It was better than that. And those are like some of the highlights of my life. And that's what I felt when I met God. Y'all, I appreciate y'all listening to this episode of The Clay Space. Again, subscribe, like, comment. I want to know what you think about this episode. Let me know what you think about the forum. Let's actually have a community here. Let's have conversation. Let's have dialogue with each other. It's okay if you disagree with what I have to say. Voice your opinion, man, but say it with respect, man, because, you know, we all want to get our points across, man, and we ain't got to always agree, but we can respect each other. So, I'm going to ride out. We going to ride out. 2. Note to higher self. If you don't want to listen to it, that's fine. Cut it off. But if you do, I appreciate you for rocking all the way through. You the real MVP. And until next time, peace.
You all I got. So Lord, I have a lot of questions. My mind never rests. Always wondering when it should be in perspective. I don't mean to second guess you, but why you gave me this gift to make lyrical bliss when ain't nobody gon' listen? It's like they deaf or something. I should be torn with the best of summer. I need more patience. The best is coming. At least that's what I got. When you was talking to me through Miss Roscoe that Thursday morning at the yard, I just gotta work hard. I just gotta stay persistent. I just gotta stay focused. I can hear the devil whispering. I wish I had the wisdom of thought. I wish I had more discipline. I wanna live life like Christ and the Buddha taught. Lord, I'm yearning Mecca like Muhammad them. I never thought a piece of Mecca would come from within. Until I met you for the first time. It was better than my first time. It was better than the time I wrote my first rhyme. I wanna feel like this forever. They're trying to tell me to feel you, but Lord, I know better. I wanna stay in tune with you forever and never. Never, 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 never. Gotta keep an open mind to get the true message. Dear Lord.